Welcome back to the Red Bull Ring and the next round of the GT4 European Series about on track to start. We are just moments away. The cars down there on the grid as we look at the Duncan Heisman, Luke Brahms V8 Racing. It's a real heavy-duty machine. That really is indeed. Focus on the driver there. And the Ricardo van der Ende, Bernhard van Orange, Acris Motorsport BMW. As we take a tour around the car. And continuing our look through the grid. The Daniel Uckermann Zavotek Sport car. Simon Knapp, another Acris Motorsport driver with Rob Servers. Sadly, didn't finish the earlier race today. Mix of Pro and Am drivers across this GT4 European Series with separate podiums for GT4 Pro and for GT4 Am drivers. Challenging battles at high-profile circuits with equally balanced cars. That's what GT4 European Series is all about. And the cost of competing is somewhat cheaper than in GT3. So cars off on their formation lap. So from race one this morning, it was Halek and Ebner that won with the Zavotek KTM X-BOW. Then it was the Aston Martin Vantage of V-Bahn that was P2. P3 was Bielen and Nuren in that Chevrolet Camaro GT4 car. And one car not managing to get away is that of Pavel Leftarov. And the Bulavto racing car gets a push start and is away now. And we'll catch up with the rest of them on the formation lap. The way the points look going into this race, in the AM points, it's Uckermann on 107. In the Pro points, it's Bielen and Nuren on 97 points. And in the teams points, it's V8 on 102, a full 10 ahead of Zavotek. Starting order then is Still and Daskalov and Talaman and Sieber and Heusmann and Brahms, van der Ende, Van Orange, then it's Uckermann. Knapp Servers, then V-Bahn, Bielen, Nuren, Kasperlik and Lackinger, then it's Halek and Ebner. Thomas Krebs and Struve. And then it is car number 66, the Balding. So being told to, drivers being told to form up in grid. And the safety car will peel off and the cars will be away and racing. So we have 50 minutes of racing plus 1 lap. Pit stop comes up between 20 and 30 minutes into the race and has to have a minimum duration of 80 seconds. Those cars with 2 drivers have a driver change. Those cars with 1 driver, of which there are 3 on the grid, they stay in the pits for the mandatory 80 seconds. So safety car has peeled off then. And, well, car number 11 and car number 71. It's an all-sin battle right at the front. And the lights go green and we are away and racing. BMW tries to get in between the 2 Sin cars, but he's not able to do so. Keeping an eye on the Camaro, trying to find a bit of space there. And the Aston Martin Vantage on the move up the inside as well. As loads of cars run very, very wide, including the race-winning X-BOW. But it is an all-sin affair as they run up now towards the Remus turn. Those 2 cars P1 and P2. Here comes the BMW up the inside of the Camaro. No, not quite close enough to be able to do so. Very nearly touch, but they don't. And there again, the Aston Martin Vantage running wide, but that runoff area does allow you to keep the momentum going so that you can maintain the speed. Car number 11 is under investigation, being told already. That is the sin of Talaman and Seba. And the Halek car in all sorts of trouble there, as we could see. So this is the second race, and also in trouble is the Acris car there of Van Orange and Van der Ende. So that number 1 machine with a flat tyre perhaps, trying to limp it back to the pit lane. Trying to make great strides. And all is naught when the rubber lets you down into the pit lane. So not one lap completed before having to pit. So Talaman leading from Still, and then Huisman is P3, Simon Knapp is P4, Bielan is 5, Vibahn is 6, Lefteroff is 7, Kasperlik 8, Okerman and Halek 9 and 10, as once again Vibahn moving up the order. Vibahn real charge here, and one to keep an eye on, absolutely. So the two Sin cars, P1 and P2, but the one making. So we have Camaro P3 and P5. Drive through penalty for our race leading car for an incorrect start. So our race leading car is going to have to take a drive-through penalty. This was the jostling of position between those two cars. The Evora of the Bulafto Racing, Pavel Lefteroff, and the Martol Racing Aston Martin Vantage GT4 of Jörg Vibahn. So there you can see confirmation of that drive-through penalty for that car, number 11. Incorrect start, drive-through penalty. So all of a sudden, the Sin dominance in P1 and P2 is going to disappear, and it will disappear within 3 laps. That's when that drive-through penalty has to be taken, within 3 laps of notification. So the battle then really is between Still and Huisman. The number 71 Sofia Motorsport car of Hendrik Still, and the awesome Camaro of V8 Racing's Luke Brans and Duncan Huisman. Duncan Huisman it is that's driving that car at the moment, so fairness, they need not chase after the number 11 car, because that number 11 car has got to come in for a drive-through penalty. All over the back of the number 71 machine is Huisman, though. Huisman trying to find a way through and trying to get up as close as possible, as they go very nearly 3 abreast now. Further down the order as Lefteroff at the start of that pack. So the Still car of the Sofia car Motorsport is the effective leader of the race, because the number 11 machine chooses not to dive in for the drive-through penalty now. Jose Luis Talaman stays out, and now Huisman just takes a look at the inside. I don't think he's close enough. No, he isn't. We can see from that camera angle as we look down from Castrol Edge. They go through Castrol Edge right now. And the one to really keep an eye on, in my opinion, is Vibahn, P6. Finished the race P2 earlier today and looks to be on a real charge. When I get a moment, I'll take a look at the lap times. Once again, Still does it exactly right in terms of not offering any opportunity. Hendrik still to the Heisman car behind to try and find a way through. Seems to be coping well with the pressure despite the flashing lights. There's the difference over the last 3 laps for you. Lap 1, lap 2 and lap 3 between Hendrik Still and Heisman in car number 96, Duncan Heisman. The cam oil livery. And the car just stepping out, the back end stepping out a bit there. Keeps it all under control for the moment. So the V8 racing driver, Duncan Heisman, there is the race leader, although it's academic because he has this drive-through penalty. And in he dives to take the drive-through penalty, and this will push him down the order. So Jose Luis Talaman in to serve his drive-through penalty. Compromise his efforts, also those of Marcus Sieber, to come when the driver change, and this is why it was an incorrect start. So he was right alongside the Hendrik Still car when they got to the timing line. And car number 11 is now under investigation for pit lane entry. Going from bad to worse, isn't it, for Talaman? So under investigation for pit lane entry. Well, he didn't see anything wrong with his entry into the pit lane. Maybe he dived in too late. So that's what the race stewards are thinking. Well, more information to be revealed when we know it. As we take a look at the run-up to Rima's turn before we go to what is now effectively our race leader. Hendrik Still with Duncan Heisman in P2. Then it's Knapp, then it's Bielan, then it's Uckerman, V-Bahn. And left her off at Kasperlik, Halek, Krebs. Talaman then has rejoined as they head across the timing line now. So Still has a just under 9/10 margin over Heisman. Further down the order, the battles continue to rage. What can Halek do about Kasperlik ahead of him? That was perhaps the closest battle, and there is the Talaman car that has rejoined in P11. And now gets another drive-through penalty for incorrect pit entry. So when your day is not going with you, that's certainly the case for that man. And now really having to defend hard is Hendrik Still, who has the number 96 Camaro of Duncan Heisman really all over the back of it. These are incredible cars, this Sin R1 GT4. Mentioned in the program earlier that there was a road-going version of one of those cars in the paddock, which sadly I didn't get opportunity to really have a good look at, but amazing car run by Sofia Car Motorsport. And there the sound of a gear change from the big V8 Racing Camaro GT4. Runs wide off the track. Haven't seen too many penalties issued this weekend for pit lane for not maintaining track limits. But running in P11 at the moment is the number 11 car, Jose Luis Talaman, who has got another drive-through penalty. I'd like to see him replay him taking. There he comes in to take this second drive-through penalty. To see quite how he got the entry so wrong. In the meantime, leading the way, it is still with Heisman. Further down the order, Halek battling with the Allied racing car of Kasperlik and Lackinger. Battling over P8. Now there is the one that I said keep an eye on, running in P6. There's P7, car number 28, and P9. Sascha Halek behind. Whatever at the moment, the number 15 Zandvoort KTM X-BOW, as it gets right alongside the BMW now, and if it can maintain that being right alongside, this might pay off as we see them down into the Rint turn, carrying much more speed through there, and a brilliant move from Sascha Halek then, who moves up a further place to P8, disposing of the Kasperlik BMW. And that was a great move from Sascha Halek, set that up perfectly. Next in his target sights is going to be left or off then. Where's Vebaan in all of this? There he is. So it's a left or off and then Vebaan for Sascha Halek to consider. Vebaan not perhaps making the progress that I expected from our race 1 P2 place-up. Interestingly, the best lap has come from Daniel Uckerman, a 1:49.03, which came on lap 6. So Vebaan to left or off then, and soon to join that little gaggle for P6, P7 is going to be Sascha Halek, who is currently running P8, but you can see now he's got away from that BMW as there is a slight mistake there from left or off. Pavel left her off, driving the Lotus Evora, and now under real pressure. So all of a sudden his attack on Vebaan ahead has gone because the KTM X-BOW goes through. Sascha Halek moves up yet another place, and now the chase is on to Vebaan. And it might even line up a move here heading towards the Castrol Edge turn. They start to go uphill about now. If he dives to the inside, if he's close enough to do so, indeed he does, and goes through certainly untroubled. That car is absolutely on rails at the moment. This is our P1 car. It's still, but now Sascha Halek and, well, Vebaan is going to try and stay with him here. In fact, Vebaan is going to try and fight back. Oh, and there's contact between the two of them. There's damage to the Halek car and Vebaan and Halek have coming together. And that is going to be the end of the KTM X-BOW's charge up the order for now. He's going to have to try and limp that car back to the pit lane. You can see the smoke pouring off the tyre. The tyre could explode before he gets to the pit lane. The bodywork rubbing against it. Would love to see a replay of that. So Peter Ebner and Sascha Halek then. It says on the timer screen that it is Sascha Halek that's driving the car and not Peter Ebner. Do have problems sometimes with the wrong information being sent from the transponder to race control, but whoever is driving the car is not performing as it did. The incident between those two cars is under investigation. There's no surprise there. There is the number 10 machine, which went into the back corner of that KTM X-BOW and has caused it to be smoking like that. So the team are going to have quite a bit of work to do to try and pull that bodywork off the back end of that car. So it's Huisman the P1 and P2. Here's the replay, and that's where the contact was made. With the crossbow actually drifted over into the Vantage, or the other way around. Certainly didn't see any steering lock on the number 10 car. No further action going to be taken between cars 10 and 15, so obviously they've had a look and decided that it was nothing more than a racing incident. Well, the team have done their level best to try and repair the damage. The car should be out again. In the meantime, Sin that leads the race with the P2 car, that Camaro. So Hendrick still sets the fastest lap on lap 9, a 1:46.77. 1:46.77 compared to the 1:49.24, jolly near 3/10 ahead of the Heisman Camaro, which is P2. And still the crossbow's in the pit lane now, it leaves. So race is ruined for that car, that's for sure. And as far as race control are concerned, it was a racing incident, no further action to be taken. So the Halek car makes its way back out of the pit lane. And interestingly, is going to feed out again, isn't it? Effectively in front of the number 10 car, which hit it, or didn't hit it if it was drifted into. And that's the car of V-Barn. They're considering it a race incident. There was certainly contact between the two, and in the contact state, it was unfortunately the crossbow and race-winning Zavotek crossbow that came off worse. The battle for 6th place continues between the Evora and the Aston Martin Vantage GT4. They are absolutely side by side. The Vantage has the advantage going into this turn. Evora will try and just dive up the inside now, but he's not close enough to be able to do that. You can see the damage on the left-hand side of the Vantage there. The damage created by that coming together with the crossbow. V-Barn to left or off, you can see the difference over the last laps. The Allied Racing BMW M3 GT4 of Jan Kasperlik and Dietmar Lackinger. And out goes the number 96 Camaro from P2. So a problem for Duncan Heisman and Luke Brahms. Then the V8 racing car is out. You can see smoke pouring off of it. So all of a sudden, the number 69 V8 racing machine is up to P2. What happened then? Well, just went straight on. See smoke pouring out of the car, to be fair. So as one goes out, one gets elevated a place further up the order now. So the Heisman car is out. See that in replay. That car's not rejoining. So breathing a sigh of relief now is Hendrick Still, who is out on his own. The pit window is open. Now, can't imagine that he will choose to dive in straight away. Indeed not, stays out there. So the 71 car in a race on his own at the Mo, because look at the difference between the two of them. Before we get to the P2 car on the left-hand side of the screen, we'll throw up the time difference between the two. 7.2 seconds as the Zavotek crossbow there dives into the pit lane. Okerman. Now, given that he's out on his own, so to speak, with no other driver, he just has to sit in the pit lane for the mandatory 80 seconds and then rejoin the race. Others, of course, that are a two-driver car, well, the driver change takes place. Team chief at the front with the stopwatch, other team members there with the tyre pressure gauges. And there, leading the race, is this amazing looking car. The Sofia Car Motorsports Sin R1 GT4 of Hendrik Still and Rosen Daskalov. And he has a 7-second advantage. Still stays out. And will the P2 car stay out as well? Yes. So the number 69 car now is P2. Of course, P3 in the earlier race took a podium place. And now coming up against the rejoining car. And there's a problem for the number 6 machine. The ASC Bolafto Racing Evora of Pavel Lefterov. Smoke pouring out of the back of that car. Still see a small haze. Knows his way through the pit lane does the number 11 machine, that's for sure, having served 2 drive-through penalties. This is the mandatory pit stop for Talaman, who is in, and Talaman will be out, and Marcus Sieber will be into the car. Work of a moment getting into it, that's for sure. And there you can see the Evora being looked at with smoke billowing out of the back. Rather feel that may well be the end of that car for the race today. So the Lotus Evora GT4, run by the Bolafto team, finished P8 in race 1. Rejoining, though, is the BMW of Blackinger and Kasperlik, as the team continues to take a look at the problems with that Evora in this GT4 European Series race. And sadly, that car taking no further part in the race. So Pavel Lefterov is out. In the meantime, the number 11 car makes its way back out of the pit lane. The car that's been more times through the pit lane almost than laps around the circuit. And the engineers all taking a look, and lots of oil there, rocking the car to and fro. So pit window remains open. And in comes the Halek car. which suffered the damage earlier on. The Zandvoort team having done a great job. So teammates assist each other in and out of the car as quickly as is possible, and we were right. Halek it was that was driving in the first stint of the car. And so Peter Ebner it is now that takes over driving duties. Top down. Of course, that car was the race-winning car in race 1. Gets the okay from the team chief and rejoins. And in now comes the race leader. Hendrick still. Rosen Daskalov standing by to jump into the car. This Sin R1 GT4 car. Stop. Watch is on. At a comfortable margin of very nearly 6 seconds. So barring any real problems with this pit stop should be absolutely fine. In comes the P2 car. Tire pressure's being looked at as we speak, and in from P4 is Jörg Wiebahn, the Martol Racing driver. He on his own, so no driver change necessary there. Also in, the Thomas Krebs and Carsten Struve car. Bit of camera art through the rear view mirror of the Camaro there. Door closed, roars back into life. And away. So back out on track comes the Sin R1 GT4. And positions will ultimately be unaltered when the pit window closes. Fires out to the Pro Sport Performance Porsche 981 GT4 of Krebs and Struve. And commentator's curse, what was it I said earlier about the respective track limits not being really mentioned? Well, that very car number 18, is the one that has been told to respect track limits. So, eyes of the race steward on that for the rest of the race. And still the Pavel Lefterov car from ASC Bolafto Racing is being worked on. And as we can dive right in, it's, despite the best efforts of our cameraman, able to diagnose that fault. The pit window is now closed. And sadly for Lefterov, there is no more. That car's race is done. Race leader then, in car number 71, is Rosen Daskalov now. And there is the P2 driver. From V8 Racing, it's Marcel Nuren. And continuing to move up the order is car number 15. Now driven by Peter Ebner. BMW fights back though. And you can see how Ebner is looking across. The number 8 Acris BMW, driven by Rob Sievers. Splitting those two KTMs. Tyres squeal under protest. So those cars running P10. Of course, the number 8 car, the Acris BMW. Really cuts off the nose of Buchanan. Irony is that Ebner, of course, is a back-marking car, significantly quicker. No question about it, as they're side by side going into the Castrol Edge turn. And despite the fact that Uckerman had made the pass, Severs is not letting it go and fights back, and they continue to fight. And through the uphill Remus turn, BMW has its nose in front once again. So this the battle going on for the final podium place. Nuran, of course, in P2, and running away with it as still they continue to trade places between the two of them. And there is the number 11 car in strife once again. I think it had been through enough today, and certainly in this race. But for now, we focus and concentrate on this battle, which is going on. But whilst that has been going on, we have a change at the front, as the number 69 car has reeled in the 71 Sin and is now in the lead of this race. So Nuran now leads over Daskalov. Well, we were so busy watching everything else that was going on that we didn't see the slowing Daskalov and the fast-moving Nuran, which, as you can see, is opening up strides and strides over the current P2 car. So Nuran it is that leads. And that big Chevrolet Camaro certainly showing a clean pair of heels to the Daskalov car. Car 11, being told by race control, has rejoined, but the team manager of that team is to report to race control after the race. So here is our new race leader. Driving for the V8 Racing team, Marcel Nuran. It was Jelly Belan that did the first driving stint. We've got 14.5 minutes left to run. So here in replay, all over the back of the car, then right alongside. And this was where our cameras picked it up live as the Camaro went through, carried much more speed through that rint turn and took up the lead. And that has built up a huge margin over the P2 car. Now the car you can see just into picture there, it's gone away now, is not the P3 car. I think that's the back marking Halek car. So race leader. And looking unfazed and untroubled as he makes his way around this 4.3 kilometer circuit. Nuren, last time around it was 4.243. It's 4.948 now, so full 7/10 have been pulled out. Now that is the car that is back marking. Car is actually down in P9. This battle continues to rage though between the BMW of Rob Sievers and the number 16 Zavotec crossbow of Daniel Uckerman. Daniel Uckerman tries to look up the inside here. These two have been brilliant value. And this over the final podium place. Serve as it is at the moment as Uckerman dives up the inside. Servers has to run very, very wide. Wonder if he'll get a warning for that, because car number 18 has already been warned with regards to track limits. So the Acris team, BMW M3 GT4 car. And there is Daskalov, who is being caught by the back marking car. There's our race leader. And then it is the back marking number 15 car, which is down in P9 at the moment. And is lapping at an incredible rate, it has to be said, and taking some curious lines to try and get past. That one didn't work. Last time around it was a 141.547 for that back marking car compared to 142.767 for our race leader. So had it not been for that coming together and the fact that the car had to come into the pit lane for damage to be repaired, well, the speed of it is unquestioned. Nuren, Daskalov, then Servers, but Uckerman tries once again. As you can see, Servers again runs off the road, and Uckerman now on the was on the outside. The BMW seems to have the grunt this section up towards Remus. Now if Uckerman can dive up the inside, front end of the Acris BMW squirms under braking, and this is where Uckerman needs to have the momentum to try and get up the inside so that he's in the best possible place for Schloss Gold. Hasn't been able to do it because Servus has, well, seen that coming and has tried to break that opportunity away from Uckerman, but Uckerman is all over the back of this BMW, cannot think for the next 8 minutes plus one lap is going to be able to continue to defend in this way. Uckerman surely is going to find a chink in the armour and go through, but we have seen him go through only to be thwarted as Servers has come back at him again. Taking the wide outside line through there, which doesn't seem to work. The back of the vert curve, and then turn 6 now to Rint as they go downhill towards Red Bull Mobile. Not not too bothered about the next pair ahead, because one of those is a back-marking car. We're more interested in Uckerman here and whether he can get up the inside and get sufficient momentum through that turn. And I think this time he has done it, but now this is when the grunt of the BMW really pays off, because the BMW of Servers fights back and is able to go through the kink and just get his nose ahead. But Uckerman might have done enough this time. Tries to dive up the inside, does the Servers car, but nothing doing. Uckerman perhaps has made it stick on this occasion. I think Servers is going to take this lying down. But what they are doing, they're both reeling in the P2 driver. And in fairness, what Daskalov probably should have done, he's just let that back-marking car through and get out of the way, so he hasn't got to worry about it, and then focus more. But of course, what it did mean was there was another little cushion before the what is now P3 Zavotek crossbow of Daniel Uckerman. Well, Uckerman is now P2. Or is he? Big fight over the start-finish line. Is there contact between the two of them? Very close, but also buying into this is Servers as well, because Servers is right on the back of Uckerman. They go almost 3 abreast now around this run up towards Remus. 7 minutes left to run in this race. Daskalov it is that is P2. Some stoic defense going on here. And these three battling over this position, and it is a three-way battle. But at the moment, the number 71 Sofia car of Rosan Daskalov has been able to see off the challenge, but now I don't think he will be able to, and he's going to lose 2 places in 1. So Uckerman now up to P2, Servers up to P3, Daskalov down to P4 with just 5.5 minutes left in this race. Uckerman is on a charge, but 16 seconds behind that race-leading car, which is too much of an ask over 5 minutes and 20 seconds plus 1 lap. But there you can see Uckerman, and I do think might happen is that P2 might be up for grabs, because Servers will get back onto the back of Uckerman, I feel sure. And this was how it all played out. Daskalov, well, having seen Uckerman through, was going to close the door, but the door, unfortunately, was full of BMW. And therefore loses 2 places in 1 hit. Great to see that in replay. There is the race-leading car of Nuren. Across the timing line, and we'll get a live gap back to the P2 car, but it can almost be measured in days, can't it? They are 15.3 seconds. So Nuren and Milan then that finished at P5 in race 1. Well, and unbelievably, that car is a back marker down there in P9. Okaman now, he's on a bit of a charge, isn't he? He's a full 3 seconds ahead of P3, where Service and Ukaman were together and virtually welded together all the time. All of a sudden, Ukaman has got a second wind, and his P2 place. So it'll be an almighty ask for him to get on terms with Nuren for P1. That is, of course, assuming everything stays well with the Nuren car. And do bear in mind that we have seen the sister car retire from the race. Viban is in P5. Daskalov in 71 there is P4. Cars all spread out quite a bit. So there is Viban, who took P2 in race 1. Barring disasters ahead of him, he ain't going to be on the podium for this one. As a race leader crosses the timing line. 3 more laps, I reckon. 13 seconds to the good over Ukaman. But just take a look at these lap times. Nuren, last time around, 1:43.511. Ukaman, 1:41.331. Very nearly 2 seconds a lap quicker. Now, the maths don't tally, unfortunately. And the best will in the world, don't think Ukaman, barring a problem for this car, I don't think Ukaman is going to be on him in the time that we have available of 1:36 plus 1 lap. But Ukaman driving like a thing possessed. 1:41.331 last time round. Compare that to our race leading time of 1:43.511. Very nearly 2 seconds. So here is our race leader, Nuren. That awesome looking Camaro. Heading towards the Rint turn. And then Red Bull Mobile. Then he'll cross the timing line, and we'll be able to measure the not only the gap, but also the lap times between the two. So 1:43.685 was his last lap. Ignore the car that crosses the timing line now. That's irrelevant. That's back marking. A 1:41.594, over 2 seconds quicker from Daniel Ukaman then in car number 16. So this car, back marking car, but still in P9. The number 15 machine of Halek and Peter Ebner. And now under pressure. This is for P4. Between the number 71 car of Daskalov and Viban. And Viban very much has a P4 in sights. So Viban then lines up the Daskalov car. Daskalov taking the wider and more smooth and sweeping line through to deny Viban the opportunity. .4 last time around. 2:57 now. Okay, to start final lap is Nuren, who that lap did a 1:43.753. Uckerman, who has brought it down to 8.8 as we see V-Bahn go through to pick up P4. Uckerman did a 1:41.488. Lap time so quick. Fastest man out there. The only other very quick one is Peter Ebner. As Daskalov gets the place back from V-Bahn. And it's that car that is still the fastest over the course of the race. As it set the fastest lap on lap 9, a 1:40.677. So this, the final lap of the final GT4 European Series race here at the Red Bull Ring. And that our race leading car, the V8 Racing Jelly Beelen Marcel Nuren car, and it's Marcel Nuren who will drive it to the checkered flag. One more turn to do. And Nuren takes the win, weaves from side to side and takes the checkered flag. Please ignore that car, that's back marking. But here in P2 is Uckerman, who has driven like a star. Servers then will take P3. Then it should be... Oh, they are side by side. It's going to end in absolute disaster. That is a horrible crash. They have been battling and battling. Immediate red flag. Well, we can see the door open of the Daskalov car. And Daskalov is out. And V-Bahn is out as well, I think, to the very left of the picture. Well, both drivers, of course, will receive immediate medical attention. Well, immediate red flag, of course, and the medical teams were on the scene within seconds here at the Red Bull Ring. And the medical teams there, and Daskalov to sit down. There's V-Bahn now. I thought I saw V-Bahn getting out of the car, and thankfully I did. Just see it from the camera angle, and he's out of the car. As I say, the medical team's on that incident within seconds. Absolutely remarkable reactions. Very nasty indeed. And it was the squabble that was going on over P4. And here we can see it diving up the inside there. Cars were side by side. And there was just a little nudge, I think, and that caught the V-Bahn car sideways. And then they both careered across the grass, and when you're on the grass, you're just passengers, and then the huge aftermath of that as you can see, the car's flying through the air. And here you can see it again. And they're both going at full speed. Well, a testament to the construction of the GT4 European Series cars that we've seen both those drivers out of the car. And despite the fact they're receiving medical attention by virtue of the fact we've seen them out of the car, which is, of course, good news indeed. In the meantime, back to our 1, 2, 3 then. Nuren, Ukkerman and Servers. But of course, all our thoughts are with those drivers. Sort of end to the race that we really would rather not see. So Marcel Nuren then. Indication of how hot it is in those cars. So discussions going on, of course. Those drivers equally as concerned about their colleagues out there. And there the accident being explained and how it unfolded.
Boys, even samen. Doe even omhoog. Ja, nee, voor de sponsors natuurlijk. Ik heb een beetje veel.
Saw the back end of Daniel Ukkerman there, who's out of the car. Then Nuren. Bringing the car home for the win. Driving with Jelly Beelan. Daniel Ukkerman P2. Then P3 goes the way of the Acris Motorsport car of Simon Knapp and Rob Sievers. Discussions continuing. And race immediate red flagged with that accident, of course. Safety and medical teams on there were there straight away. Well, Daniel Ukkerman. Took the AM win yesterday, was actually P4 in the race overall. It was 3 pro drivers that crossed the line in the top 3 places earlier today. Discussions continuing. And the LEDs of the number 8 car. And we look back at this 4.326 kilometer Red Bull Ring circuit. Circuit really has, in the last couple of years, established itself as a firm favourite. Of course, the return of F1 here Some other huge motorsport events. A venue that sits in this beautiful Austrian scenery. So the clear-up operation will be continuing down there. An effect that will have on the timetable. Going into this GT4 European Series race, it was Bielen and Nuren at the top of the points chart by 13 points over Heisman, and then over Luke Brahms and Heisman, who were P2. And in the AM points going into this race, Daniel Uckerman at the top on 107. Well, we've done that charge in the points chart, no harm at all in finishing P2 here at the Red Bull Ring this afternoon. So there we can see the cars being recovered. Both those cars were on the grass. Whether any damage has been caused to the barriers to the right of that picture with the car that went into that, to those barriers, I'm unsure, but the recovery teams there having done a great job. But most important of all is the medical teams who have done a great job, who were on the scene within seconds. Clean-up operation continues. A great many bits of that Sin R1 GT4 to be picked up. So team's doing a great job down there. Officials from the Red Bull Ring circuit overseeing every aspect and making sure all is fine. And it's like that repair job on the barriers is just about coming to a close. So local time we have 16:40, and the next race was due on track, having started in 5 minutes. There you can see both the cars have been recovered. But still think it's going to be a few moments. So very much think we're getting to the end of this clear-up operation, and both drivers being off to receive medical attention, of course. And there we take a shot looking back at the Red Bull Ring circuit here. Wonder in the circumstances whether the podium will be postponed. No information at the moment being given to me. No further information at all at the moment. So we're just taking a look at the beauty shots of the Red Bull Ring here at Spielberg in Austria. And the ADA, the GT4 European Series race then curtailed and red flagged right at the checkered flag as incident over P4 was being contested, both cars out on the grass, ending up very, very sadly in the barriers. Both drivers we've seen out of the car and whilst receiving medical attention because the aftermath of the accident was absolutely horrific. Thankfully, both drivers appeared to be relatively unscathed getting out of the car, but of course are being checked over by the medical team. So that's what we have for now, and no news on the podium, so for the moment. Well, we're being told that there will be a podium in a few moments' time. Which will be a little bit subdued following that incident. Here the results then. Bielan Nuren taking the win from Uckerman P2, Nap Servers P3, Viban and Daskalov and Still being categorized P4, P5, Lackinger, Kasperlik, then Thomas Krebs and Struer. Van Orange, Van der Ende P8, Halek, Ebner P9, that was the backmarking car. Talaman and Sieber P10, Lefteroff P11 and Brahms and Heisman P12. Those are the results after 29 laps. And we can, from our commentary position here, see that the podium is being readied. Let's take the slow-mos of the top three now. So they're the 3, 2, 1 in slow-mo. And just awaiting the podium ceremony to get underway. And we can hear some noise from our commentary position, and there we get the podium anno, which will be a subdued affair, as I said, following that so they're on the top step of the podium and appropriately composed. There's Simon Knapp then. And Sievers. And the P3. Of course, the way the podiums are done here. Pro and Am categories, but Pro first, national anthem now. So excuse the graphics. The reason Daniel Uckerman is missing is an AM driver. Trophy presentations, though, meantime. So trophies presented to P1, now P2. Knapp and Zabers receive their trophies. Team trophy as well. Well, no time for the photos. It was Jelly there that was first with the bubbly. Photographs are going to be a rare affair. Next up for the and that bottle the world of good. Next up for the GT4 European Series then. Next track is Spa-Francorchamps. Up next will be the AM Podium. I believe. And still the champagne is continuing to be poured down drivers' overalls. You can see Daniel Uckerman awaiting. So always a pro podium, always an AM podium. This GT4 European Series. So we keep our eye on the podium then. Awaiting the, I think we're going to get something now. As we cross back to taking a look at the circuit here, and yes, just as we do that, so the amateur classification podium to come now. Here comes Daniel Uckerman then. He will go to the top step. Handshakes all round. And Daniel Uckerman then, who we saw awaiting this podium, and he's been waiting nearly as long as us. But he did all the hard work out there on track. He takes P1, and as we see, P2 and P3 presented in the amateur classification as well for the European GT4 Series, where up next they will be performing at Spa-Francorchamps in just under 2 weeks' time from me. I bid you farewell. Thank you so much for watching as everyone celebrates their positions up there on the podium. Bye-bye for now.